Welcome back to the channel. This is Fabian from Shop Talk and Street Fame, and I don't know if you can read that, but today we have a very special episode for you guys. We are here at Big Boys Performance. This shop, I mean, I know the owner. He came from having a dream to making it a reality. This shop comes out with a lot of horsepower cars and very clean cars, and also, if you aspire to own a shop, this is what you aspire to own. This gentleman has one of the cleanest shops I've seen in a long time, and also works on amazing cars. He works on Supras, he works on Skylines, he works on Mopar cars. I mean, anything that he touches comes out on point and with a lot of power. So let's go ahead and have a talk with this gentleman, with Mario, and let you guys know how he came from having a dream to making it a reality. You just literally just appreciate what you've built. I mean, it's serious, man.
I never thought I'd be here.
And yet here you are.
You know, actually, I've been here. I don't know if the camera's already rolling.
It's rolling, but don't even worry about the camera. Don't even worry about it. Because all right, so before we start, I just want to let you know, like, the way that my interviews are, they're not interviews.
Yeah.
It's a conversation. It's a conversation. Essentially, it's like just talking about what sparked your interest in cars, and then leading up to where we are today. You know, it's like sitting here behind fucking Baltic Supras, you owning, 3 Lexuses with 2Js, and in a shop that specializes in high performance 2JZs, etc. So it's just a conversation. It has nothing to do with like, whoa, what's your next plan or anything like that. It's just flow it out. I don't even have a questionnaire. My first one, I had a questionnaire, and then I saw that it was like too script.
No, it's much better when it's just natural. Like,
it's just natural. Just a conversation. We're boys, and it's like, look where you are today.
It's funny how you ask. Like, when this actually all started for me when I was young, I'm sure, like most car guys, my cousins were actually the ones up in Orlando that got me into it, and they were car guys. One of them had like a Civic Si. The other one actually had a Mark III Supra, which is kind of a big reason why I have one myself. But they took me to my first car show, and I also remember seeing my first Supra there, and this is like around the time where the first Fast and the Furious movie was coming out, and I know that was like an inspiration for
a lot of people.
Yeah. So,
well, that's where the JDM came into play.
Yeah, mainly for the JDM kids. Exactly. But I mean, even muscle car guys know Fast and the Furious,
of course.
But I knew literally from there on that cars was just what I wanted to do. I didn't know how I was going to do it. In fact, I kind of grew up mainly just drawing cars, and I thought I was going to be my own car designer one day. Art school was pretty expensive, though. So.
Yeah, that's.
And then I got my hands on my first car.
What was your first car?
It was a 1993 Toyota Celica ST. It was a coupe, not the hatchback, but it had a GT4 hood on it, so it was actually pretty cool at the time. And I used to. I went to a rich school, so it wasn't the nicest car when I went over there, but I was really proud of it. And I did manage to crash it, of course. Unfortunately, what other young kid doesn't crash their first car? And then after that, I had like this old 91 Toyota Corolla. The thing was a bucket, but I was still in high school, and I was pushing that thing. Like, I was so proud of it.
Nice.
And I had all my friends that would come over and help me build it. I mean, when I say build it was like I blew the head gasket, and that's when I really got my first hands-on experience with a car, and it was with like this shitty little Craftsman box. Like, I barely had the tools to finish the job. In fact, I don't even think we finished the job. We literally had my friend finish it. Yeah, when I first started working on cars, I was bad. Like, I mean, I didn't know anything. I was still learning. And then eventually I ended up moving to Ohio for certain reasons, and I got my first mechanic job up there.
Okay.
And I'll say for sure that working in Ohio with cars in the snow is not fun.
It's not fun.
All the cars rust. And eventually I made my way back down to Miami, where I was still kind of working for like mom and pop stores, chain stores. And then eventually I got into Toyota, where I thought that was going to be like my last job. And
at the dealership.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be at the dealership for the rest of my life. So I tried my hardest to like really make it work there, but the service advisor and manager, he really had it out for me. Like, he did not want me to level up. And I really hated the guy, but something like that actually fueled me to get out of my comfort zone, because I told myself I was only going to work on Toyotas. But eventually I leaned into the European cars, and I went to go work at my first high-end shop, which was Limitless Motorworks at the time.
Okay.
And that's where I really took on the Porsches, the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis.
So is that where your spark of like going into the racetracks came into play? Because I know that you've helped in teams and all that.
So
is that where it started?
Well, I've always been either a mechanic or a fueler for most of the teams. But yeah, I mean, with loving cars, usually race cars is not too far behind it. I mean, for me, I always thought drag cars were pretty cool, but then the drift cars really came around, and that's when I really got captivated. But I managed to get an in with a Ferrari team after doing years of backyard work over at Homestead Speedway, doing for smaller teams. Eventually, I got picked up for Ferrari, where I'm on my 7th year of doing Ferrari Challenge track support, along with a couple other teams like Porsche Carrera Cup. I've done endurance races with SRO and IMSA, so I've done quite a bit of racing. But at the end of the day, when I come home, this is my bread and butter. It's Toyota Lexus 2Js. But anyways, one day after getting fired from Limitless Motorworks because he thought I was conspiring and taking work from his shop and taking it somewhere else, that never happened. And even working for other shops, that like I just learned how to do the do's and don'ts over the years of working for other people. And during COVID was when this all actually happened. I actually was I paid for my first rent check at my shop with the COVID check that came by.
So you started the first shop with like as soon as COVID started.
I started it I had the LLC in like this like August 2020, and then by December by November I had moved in, and it was hard because I was a nobody. And it was right around Christmas and Thanksgiving, so people just weren't really spending the money on their cars like that. And I had quit my job almost as soon as I moved into the shop, because I was like, fuck this corporate shit, fuck working for everyone else. And I really dove into it 100%. And I was still doing the racing at the time, so it kind of funded the business while I was still picking up. But I almost immediately drowned,
of course,
as soon as I even like started.
I mean, you literally jumped both feet in right then and there. And well, most people would say one of the worst times to start a business.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's no better time than now.
Absolutely.
2020 was definitely an interesting time, and running it literally just during and after COVID. I know it's probably still going on right now.
Yeah.
But it's not been the easiest thing. But one thing I realized is that if I didn't put my 2 feet in immediately and just didn't commit, I probably would have never gotten the growth that I'm at right now. And the other thing is that it does take a lot of attention and repetition and just constantly wanting to do it. There's days that, of course, it gets so hard and stressful that you just don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. So you just have to fight through it.
You just got to do it.
And you can't just quit. I mean, I'm not going to quit after putting all this time and effort into it. I'm only going to keep growing it, making it better. So the first shop that I moved into was nowhere near as nice as this. But of course, I really got my feet wet, and I was able to build that shop where I was just having to push cars out every day. I only had like one mechanic at the time. And it was hard trying to just manage that growth in a small shop. And I was still building supers at the time, where eventually I built a car for my now business partner. And honestly, he's been a long-time friend. I've known him for 15 years. And we pretty much just thought that Big Boy Performance had that potential to really grow. And 2024 was when we really made everything happen after a year of planning. And just what you're in right now is just thoroughly been planned for the last year.
We were talking that this was very planned.
And
purposely built. We still have a lot of things to do in this.
I mean, yeah, just starting it from scratch all over again, from moving from Cutler Bay to next to Miami International Airport. Might as well just be starting from scratch again. new clients, losing clients even because they're not nearby them anymore, but also gaining more because we're centralized and we have more growth. We have more space to accommodate the growth of clients that we've got coming. So now we're just experiencing to the point where like we're booming to the point that, you know, we need extra mechanics. Now we're looking into maybe opening up another location.
Oh, nice.
Just because we're trying to mainly nail it in terms of an experience that it's not your traditional mechanic shop. We love what we do here. Yeah. I know I love what I do here. So every car that we work on, we try to treat it just the same as we would, whether it's a Supra or a Ferrari, the same way that we would get a Honda Civic or that Element out there that we're working on.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of got to treat them all
Anything,
the same.
every car's important.
It's just that extra care. And it's not always the easiest to do every single day, but you really got to just try to be on top of making your next move better than the last, whether it's just trying to replace a not so good looking hardware or making sure that a clip is on the right way or a hose connector is not, you know, sideways, or like just a lot of things that I try to pay attention to, especially when I'm building a car like a Supra. I mean, there's no point in not doing any justice to this car. So give it the best that you've got. There's no point in just making any shortcuts,
just halfway through
parts, because you're gonna have to do it again. So it took a while to learn that too, of course, because, you know, between managing a business and making the business actually do what it needs to do is two different things.
100%.
So the growth has been just exponential in terms of.
Now, what would the now Mario, what would be the advice that you would give yourself when you were starting out? What would you have done different, knowing everything that you know today? When you first walked in that first shop, the smaller shop that you had in Color Bay.
You mean my first one?
Yeah. What would you tell yourself then that you know now that you didn't know?
Management and organization is really key. And when you're doing something, especially by yourself, like I started the business alone, trying to manage doing everything all at once can get really tough. And you can't do it all on your own. If it was me, I would have just tried to grow my team even sooner, because if I didn't assemble a team that I literally raised them from nothing to what we are today, I probably would have been even more successful even sooner. The truth of the matter is that I've just been playing my cards as they've been dealt.
Yeah.
And it's been working out. And of course, I've had a lot of failures. I've had a lot of, you know, mistakes along the way, but that's all just been, you know, stepping stones to
lessons,
being even better. You know, you have to take those mistakes and everything that you fucked up on. And, you know, in the last 4 or 5 years of me being in business, I'm not perfect, but I've learned how to be just better and better. I'm not saying I'm the best shop. I'm just trying to be the best shop.
Yeah. And
the only way I can do that is with myself. And I tell the same thing with my mechanics. If you want to be the best, it starts with yourself. I can't do it for you. So you can, I'm really dependent on my guys to want to be the best, you know, so that way we can really be one of the best shops, you know?
Right.
So if it was up to me, I would just raise the team even sooner. But I think how all my cards have been dealt in the last 5 years, I think it fell into place almost perfect.
Yeah.
So I can only anticipate that, you know, the next 15, 20 years of business just continues to do the same. With the growth that I have now, I can actually manage to do my job more efficiently instead of just doing things all on my own. Because that's where you drown. That's where you don't want to do it. That's where, you know, you just want to give up on your business.
You burn yourself out.
You get burnt out really quick. Yeah. But when you learn how to manage it, when you find a team that is willing to trust in you and, of course, grow, because raising something out of nothing isn't easy. But it could also be very fulfilling when you can say that, you know, you did this from scratch all on your own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's a very powerful feeling to have.
Yeah.
Knowing, like, for example, like where you were just talking to me before we started, it's like, damn, sitting here just really makes you realize how far you've come. I mean, dude, how many bays you got? 1, 2, 3,
I have
4,
8
5,
lifts.
6,
Would have been 9, but I just made this into like the project bay where I can still like, fabricate and assemble things. But my last shop, I could probably only fit like 8 cars in there, and I had like 2 parking spots outside. Now, I don't know. I haven't filled the shop up yet, but I would guess I could probably fit like 30 in here.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm just work-wise. It seems to be.
Oh, there's plenty of work.
You got a lot of workflow.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk a little bit about those meets that you've been hosting. Those are, unfortunately, I wasn't able to come to the last one, but it got rowdy.
Yeah,
it gets big.
My car meets. It's funny you bring it up because I never would have thought I would throw car shows or car meets, but it's something that I only do so rarely. And what I mean by rarely is just like once a year, maybe twice. And if I'm honest, it doesn't take a lot of preparation.
Yeah.
I kind of just wing it every time that I do it. So I give myself maybe like a month of just advertising, planning as I go. I get a couple food trucks. I make sure the shop looks good. And mainly, of course, the biggest thing is just regulating, making sure that the cars that are actually in the car show, look good. Because I have it all the time where like photographers and YouTubers and people just want to get like this vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's nothing worse than going to a car meet and it's filled with chuchero mobiles and basic regular traffic.
Yeah.
When you come to one of my cars, I try to make it, my car shows, I try to make it where it really is something memorable.
Yeah, it's an experience, like you said. I mean, and granted, you have the shop to look the part for those kind of cars. As soon as you walk in this shop, I mean, it hits you with the cleanness, it hits you with the lightness. Like the lighting is amazing. It's like the floor, the lane that you got going on. I mean, everything.
Yeah. I actually had my partner and I were inspired by a shop called Chichi. What was it? Drift Games? The shop that caught on fire. I'm glad he got those.
Nice.
It was a shop, unfortunately, that got burned down, and I'm pretty sure.
They got I think I heard about it. They had a bunch of that was not here, right?
They lost everything, but now they came back even harder than ever. So like, they're still a big inspiration.
Nice.
But we're kind of like going for a similar vibe. But of course, it's a shop that we crank out cars every day, so it's hard to keep it pretty and always looking good. But yes, in terms of like the clean floors and the what it really is I just want it to represent what we do, and the cleanliness is key, the organization, and that takes that extra step almost every day to keep it looking like this, but it speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad that you mentioned it because that's what we want.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I've done interviews with shops. I have friends with shops. It's like, and we all have, at least I do, right? I'm speaking for myself. Like, if I ever open up a shop, this is the dream shop, right? Cleanness, good lighting, good cars, and good projects, right? But not everybody is able to maintain those cleanliness because, like you said, you get overloaded, right? So you get a lot of work. You got to turn it, and then on top of that, you got to add extra step to. All right, guys, we're done with the day. Let's clean up. A lot of shops don't do that.
Well, the other thing is just staying on top of that cleanliness,
so it doesn't pile up.
That's the biggest thing.
So it's like an extra step. Go ahead, brother.
So it's my client really quick.
All right. So as a business owner, obviously, you have to take care of business. So when customers come in, you have to take care of them.
Yeah, it's just a constant effort. I mean, we establish relationships with our clients. I mean, whether you're spending a lot of money or spending a lot of time, you're going to see each other a lot. You have to grow that trust. And not to mention, you have to execute for them. So whether it's trying to be in contact, whatever, we do something, or just make sure that the car's in good shape even before the customer gets here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We really try to make sure that the customer has the best experience possible. We care. We just want to show that we care and we love what we do. And sometimes it's not the easiest, especially when the growth is crazy. Like you mentioned about trying to keep the shop clean. It's just, it takes that extra minute of just stopping what you're doing and, take a minute to correct, make things right, make things look good. Whether I have to stop and talk to a customer, you have to stop and clean that mess that you just made. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it pays off because perfect example is just right now. What just happened? You got a customer coming in to check up on his project.
Yep.
And he came into the same shop that he dropped the car off to. Meaning, like, he dropped off the car at this shop because he felt comfortable enough that you guys are very organized, you guys are very clean, and take care of the customer's car. So he just came in unannounced and found the same exact thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that gives a lot of credibility to the name and to who you are as a manager, as an owner as well, because obviously it's easy at the end of the day to just close the door and go home.
Yeah.
What's not easy at the end of the day is finishing up the day and then cleaning up the mess that you made in the day.
Oh man.
You know what I mean? So it's like, that props to you.
I think I spend more
your
time.
Business partner. I mean, that's amazing.
I spend more time probably doing the picking up and the preparing than I do actually working sometimes.
Well, that's your job. You know what I mean? It's like making sure that your name is backed up by something, and it's backed up by your work. It's backed up by the simple fact that, Jesus, you can eat off the floor. Some places.
Almost, yeah.
Almost all the places.
We try. Oh man,
But
just
it's
wait
like,
till I polish it again. When we first moved in here, it was crazy.
yeah, but you're that 5% of the shops that the 95% are not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that
I appreciate that.
That what
It means
stands
a
out.
lot.
And it's just by walking in you can tell that. Now, since we're speaking about that, what separates, aside from the obvious cleanliness, organization, and the kind of cars that you're working on, what separates Big Boy Performance to any other performance shop out there? Because there are a lot of it. We're in Miami, so there's a lot of performance shops. What's the difference between you and them?
Well, I'm sure a lot of people that have been to plenty of shops will just see for themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For the most part, I don't have to say much for you to look into my shop and see what we've got going on and how we do it. So that's the number one thing. But the biggest thing is that I need to make sure that the customer also has that same experience, because we can look good and all that stuff, but it's all fluff at the end of the day if the customer is not happy. And that takes just constant catering and attention. And sometimes when you go to a mechanic shop, you get your service, you don't even talk to your mechanic or whoever's actually working on the car. And then, you don't even get checked up on or anything like that. But here it's like, my customers come back just to see what's going on, just to hang out, just to say what's up, or even give me a recommendation. From my experience, I think that we're just different in a sense of the customer service that we have and just the kind of quality that we're trying to put out.
I'm going to give you another praise because it just came to mind, and it's beautiful the fact that it happened live, especially while we're doing an interview. So it doesn't seem set up.
Yeah.
Customer just walked in, right? You just mentioned you don't even get to talk to the mechanic. Right here, you even stop what you're doing to go talk to your customer, to say hi.
Oh,
how you doing? Give me a second, I'm in the middle. But you didn't ignore it. You know what I mean? It's like, so that is something that I personally haven't seen. You know what I mean? It's like if the owner, especially from an owner, because an owner has a lot of things on the plate.
Yeah.
So it's like to stop everything that you're doing, acknowledge the customer. That must feel amazing for that guy.
Well, one thing that even a customer like who just walked in actually mentioned to me and also served to me as a reminder is that no matter how far it is that I grow, people come at the end of the day, well, for me, for Big Boy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's in the name. So I have to make sure that I play that part, even if it's in something small. Even if you just came in to get your tire pressure checked, I'll come by, say what's up, introduce myself. Yeah. You're coming to Big Boy Performance. You're probably expecting to see Big Boy. My mechanics may be doing all the work now, but at the end of the day, I still have to go through the car, make sure that before it gets in their hands, that it's been at least approved by me. I can't just get lazy and be like, let everyone do all the work.
Absolutely.
In reality, I'm still out here turning wrenches. In fact, this is where I would rather be, is out here. So now I can still do things like work on the cars hands-on, and I can still manage, because now with my partnership, he handles more of the office stuff. Now I get to do more of the quality reassurance, making sure that the cars look good, make sure the shop is presentable. So when you asked me earlier about like what would I have done sooner, like I said, I would have just grown my team the sooner that I could, because then I would have been able to do even better. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
my cards were just played like this, and I'm just going to continue to play it as is. I just hope that, I mean, God willing, God is good. I can continue to grow, and if things go at this rate, I think we'll be doing just fine.
Just fine. I mean, you're doing just fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Talk to me about the projects. Now, obviously, we have a lot of people talking about the Fast and the Furious Supra because you guys made
It's funny.
that clip when it was
Actually, my
coming
partner was the one that made it.
in. It was, let me tell you, it was perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect because it does look like that. You know, it's like it
Well,
looks like a junk, but we all know.
Oh yeah, well,
that
for
it's
a car
not.
like that, it's not often that. I mean, you'd probably see it in one of the clips that we uploaded, but it's not every day that you get to work on restorations. But truth of the matter is that we actually get them every once in a while here.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a Baltic Super that we're doing right now that from head to toe, everything is brand new on it.
Yeah.
Paint, all that, the whole nine. But a lot of the projects tend to be very detail oriented. I have to do a lot of that sifting where a lot of guys want their cars built and they want it done a certain way. But one thing I learned about doing business, especially running it for my own, is that we have to do it my way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the reality of it. Now, I'm the paintbrush at the end of the day. You're the painter. I'm supposed to be here to help you with your final product. I'm supposed to guide you in the right direction. And what sometimes happens is that the customer that may not know everything that I do, I can help them already have the perfect recipe for what they're looking for without having to do all the thinking. Let me do all the thinking and then assembling for you, but the cost is this much.
Yeah.
And we already know that working on affording Supras is not the cheapest thing. But when you can afford it and it is just not anything that is of cost to you, you can really make this car something special because it's 30 years old. They're not getting any younger. Mm-hmm. So whether you're just keeping it in tip-top shape or if you're just trying to make a super badass street car or drag car, it all takes that right leadership to keeping your car in the right shape.
Yep.
So that's why I have to establish that relationship with these customers that have these cars, because this is not something that's short term. I mean, this is going to be long term for as long as the owner owns the car or the car may go to somewhere else. I want to have that relationship with that car where I can tell you everything you need to know about it, tell you that we've done it. So I'm trying to just be the guy that, you know, you can just trust and go to. And it's not like I can please everybody. I certainly haven't pleased every single person that's come in here, but I will definitely try.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's all that I can do. I can just give my word and my honesty and try my best every day.
That's it. And then let's talk about, because it's right in my face, the gold firewalls.
Yeah.
How does that trend come out to be? Because this is something that you did on your personal car.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a while now. Honestly, it started way back when I was younger. I remember when I learned that stuff was used on spaceships. I was like, I need that shit. And I put it on like my bucket back then. And then honestly, I did learn that it has actually pretty good heat reflecting properties.
Okay.
So
there's a purpose to it.
Yeah. It's actually pretty good at keeping the heat in the engine bay and not so much into the cabin. Mm-hmm. It's not more of an insulator. It's kind of like a reflector.
A reflector. Okay.
But it does happen to look cool. And when I first got my Supra, the black and gold was always the theme. So the gold firewall always fit in. And I guess more people have seen it. And I'm not saying that I'm the pioneer. I'm the first one to do it. But a lot of people do happen to do it as soon as they see my car. Another example of another car that's done it. The truth of the matter is that I've actually done it just because sometimes finding those pieces can be a little bit hard to find, like that actual insulation on the firewall. So I did it as an alternative. I usually do recommend using the insulation. Some people just want it.
Just want it.
And, you know, I'm not going to say no for that kind of thing because I do enjoy doing it. It's pretty fun. I think it looks cool. Yeah. Some people may not like it, but, you know, that's not their cup of tea.
Hey, no, I'm not going to lie. It does give it that nice touch. We're going to put a little montage of your car, of the IS.
Yeah.
I mean, it has a nice reflection on it, too. Yeah. You know what I mean? So obviously it has the positive side to it, which keeps all the heat outside of the canvas.
Yeah. Well, and not only does it look good, but it works pretty good too.
Yeah.
I mean, we also use it in our Baltic Supra, and we abuse the crap out of that car, and it stays pretty cool inside the.
That's what I was going to
car,
ask you about next. Was the Baltic Supra that you guys have?
Yeah.
The Big Boy Performance Baltic Supra.
Yep.
Talk to us
BBP
about
Supra.
that car. What's the run through on that car? What are your plans for that car? What have you done with that car?
So it's funny you mention it. That Supra is my partner's car, but we built that car pretty much from scratch since he got it. And that car had been rotisseried the whole nine. It was almost a full-blown restoration on that car because it doesn't even look the same now as when we first got our hands on it.
Wow. Okay.
And it had my first 2JZ I had ever bought that was in my Mark III. Actually, I bought the 2JZ off the kid that started that whole. Is that a Supra?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not even kidding.
Is that a Supra?
Yeah. The kid that's wiping his car in that car wash, that's the guy who owned that engine.
That's funny.
That was actually up in Parkland.
Really? Other guys from Parkland?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, so we ended up. He bought that engine because he really wanted it, and we put it in that car, and we pretty much built it from the ground up. And it's a basic street car, nothing crazy. It makes around 800 horsepower, and it's just pretty much our representation of what we do. It's not the fastest car, but it does look pretty damn good. It's got a gnarly two-step. So we like to take it to shows, cruise it around, and we could still race. I mean, we've definitely handed out a couple ass beatings.
There you go.
But, our goal isn't exactly to be the fastest. We're just trying to be one of the cleanest, one of the, more reasonable shops, but also just in terms of execution. If I'm building it and if I'm putting my name on it, I want it to look the best as possible.
Perfect.
And a lot of it really just takes that extra squeezing, usually financially, because you have to, it takes going that extra financing to go that extra mile.
Yeah.
You know
what
I
I take
mean?
that?
No, it's okay.
No? Right.
It's another collect call or a scam call, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, it's fine. Just making sure. Like I always tell, I forgot to tell you, it's like if you got to do your business, we stop.
Yeah.
Because you're a business owner at the end of the day. So that's my goal is not to
it's
stop
cool.
you from doing.
I got a few.
Yeah. And all right, so that's the MK4 is a representation of Big Boy Performance.
Yeah. Well, the Mark III and the Mark IV. I mean, anyone that's known me has known I've had my Mark III for
absolutely
forever.
And then that's what I was going to ask you next. What's next for the Mark III?
Well, my Mark III is I've had that car the longest, so it's not something that I've ever really been in a rush to finish. But I have just slowly taken my time. I've done a couple different setups on it until I finally figured out exactly what I want to do. Until we have, exactly what I'm looking for. I mean, it's a mild 900 horsepower setup with a mildly built bottom end and a ported head and 1 mil overhead valves. So it's nothing too crazy, but I've just had it for so long that, I'd take my sweet time on that car. So next I just got to finish up the fabrication, which I'm just doing some out of the box stuff like a NASCAR boom tube out of the side of the car, inspired by the Fujitsu 10 Mark III race car. And not to mention just like money. These cars are not cheap, man.
They're not cheap.
And between
we do have the JC tax.
Oh my God.
I feel like we're still in the middle of it, right? Because the JC tax has started 2-3 years ago, where prices just went off the roof. I think that was during COVID when
it was shortly after COVID that the price of these cars just got crazy,
skyrocketed, and they for some reason stay up there.
I think that they've simmered a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not 100% with this whole tariff thing that's going on with imported goods, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
In reality, there's not shortage of like a whole lot of motors, so it can be a little bit hard to find these at times. But the other alternative is just building the GE engine, which is commonly found in just about every junkyard you could possibly find.
Yeah.
And for almost the same price that you would be mildly building a GTE, you can have a fully built GE doing the same exact thing.
Yeah.
And it's just more frugal in a sense. I've never frowned upon the GE. I've always thought that it was, not even a poor man's motor. It's just
I mean,
more realistic.
it's at the end of the day,
Not to
the
feel
only
guilty about
difference
abusing it.
between the block itself is the oil squirters.
The
What
oil
else do we
squirters,
have?
the heads are slightly different,
but the block, we're talking about the block
Yeah.
itself. It's just the
Yeah.
oil squirters. That's the only
yeah,
difference that you
and
have.
the physical
between-
design of the connecting rods and the pistons.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about the
Yeah.
the block, the block itself. But you know,
Block
because
is
at the end of the day, you're still gonna change
Well,
the pistons, change the rods
I will be
normally.
honest. The one thing I've heard from certain big 2J guys that they prefer the GE is because it doesn't have that recess for the oil galleys for the oil squirters, making it slightly stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it almost even more beneficial to have a GE. Not to mention you can have a bunch of them on standby.
Yeah.
Compared to just finding a GTE that it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to find and get parts for. So I do a lot of GTEs still. I mean, I have.
But you're not against.
I don't
GEs.
have it. I personally don't have it. No, I'm just not against GEs. In fact, I love having them. I've had a whole stockpile of them, and I usually run through them or get them sent out to get assembled and built by Tech or Mesa at Engine Balancing.
Mesa's amazing, amazing engine shop.
Yeah.
Now, what's next for Big Boy? You said a little bit something about maybe opening up a second location.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of expanding, I've always thrown out the idea of having like a little Toyota Lexus dealership.
Okay.
Where you can just, pick up cool Toyotas, and it was going to be Big Boy Toys, actually.
I like that. I like that.
So it's something that's still, maybe up in the air. We'll see. But it mainly just consists of like GS300s, LSs, Aristos, Supras, things like that. But we would also be able to handle the maintenance and service of the vehicles in-house. So
all in one shop.
Yeah, that's a dream. I mean, this was a dream, and I'm here, so why can't I dream about the next one?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, maybe one day.
That's amazing, dude. All right, Mario.
Air conditioning, that's another thing. I mean, we're of course gonna get more equipment between air conditioning in the shop, hub dyno, tire machines.
You guys do welding here or no?
We have a welder, yeah. We don't do a lot of welding for the public, just for ourselves, but we have an excellent fabricator.
Okay. All right. So whatever it needs to get fabricated, get sent out.
Yeah. I mean, pretty soon, once we're comfortable, we'll be welding for ourselves. But right now, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it. That's 100% true. Because then that's a different kind of work.
Oh yeah.
Would be coming.
I mean, I learned that. Of course, I can't do everything, but I've been able to assemble. There's my fabricator right now. I've been able to assemble a team. Actually, just one second. What's up, Justin? So I've been able to just assemble a team where we all make the car as A1 as possible. The best wiring, the best fabrication, the best assembly, all the details, all that good stuff. It doesn't take one person. It takes one mind to guide it all, but it takes a team to get the final product. And that's one thing that I've always acknowledged. I'm nothing without my team, even though I might be the owner and, the guy that started it all, but I have to show my team what success looks like and try to keep them in that same direction.
Mm-hmm.
So if we all have the same like-mindedness where we all want nothing but perfection and the best possible, it makes it that much easier for the final outcome to be, what you see today.
Nice. Now, one last thing. Yesterday, you guys had your internship interviews. How did that go?
Put it this way, I've never realized how much growth my shop has gone through until I've seen the extent of what people would do to come here. And I don't mean that in a sense of trying to, no, I'm not trying to gloat or be like I'm the best, but like I've got guys that are just willing to relocate from a different state just to have an opportunity here. And I find that crazy because it's a shop.
That's amazing, dude. That speaks volumes of what you put out.
I mean, a lot of people do want to do this. And that's one thing that I've also realized as I run my business is that my shop seems to be a gateway for a lot of people that want to be involved in what I do. And I can honestly respect that and honestly appreciate it. And I also have to make sure that those people that I do let into here have to, qualify.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I never thought I'd be in that position where I have to I went from being the only guy to having whole team of people that, you know, they depend on everybody. We depend on each other for our, you know, so that we can survive.
I mean, you guys have a mutual goal, right? Like, it's not just to finish a car; it's to do the best work possible,
Right?
And under certain guidelines, and making sure that everything gets out in time, clean, well done, and performing as it should. You know, it's like, and if
it takes a lot of time, especially when we're so limited as to, like, I'm not a big team. I mean, if anything, it's me and 2 mechanics and a service advisor. So we're limited on hands and we have a lot of work. So it does tend to take a little bit longer just to really get, you know, that exceptionalness that we're looking for, but we don't want to sacrifice. We would rather take our time as long as we need to make sure you have the best outcome compared to doing it as quick as we can and you having problems shortly after leaving or anything like that, because there was no foresight into it. You know, so when you build something is different compared to just servicing it, you know, a quick in and out. You know, even when the quick in and out, we still try to hold on to it for as long as possible to make sure that you have no issues. Because I have had it before where, you know, like car goes down the road and, you know, it needs washer fluid or something like that, and it's just because it was overseen. And it's like, if we hold on to it for a little bit longer, not trying to rush, we can really look at it. We can make sure that we don't miss anything, and you know everything you need to know about your car before you leave. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome, dude.
It takes all that extra time and attention.
Well, all that extra time and attention has gotten you this far.
Thank you. I hope I continue to grow.
And I hope so too, because you've built an amazing reputation for yourself, an amazing team, an amazing shop. I mean, it's just keep on doing what you're doing, because the formula that you have is working. So,
it means a lot, man. I don't get the recognition very often, or maybe if not ever. So sometimes it is moments like this where you have to just reflect on how far you really have.
Just take it in, and just so you take this in if you want to, but the recognition that maybe people don't verbalize it, they do it in the trust that they're giving to you. I mean, not every. If I have $150,000 on a project, I'm not gonna give it to just Pepito down the street.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, I gotta have trust and faith in the person that I'm giving $150,000 to, plus a project car. Because it's not just about the money. We're both car guys, right? We know that there's sentimental value behind everything that we do.
Right. This is your baby. I mean,
exactly.
You come to me, you might as well be bringing me your child that I'm doing surgery on, and you want nothing but the best for your child. It's almost the same thing as a car. You know, I actually kind of got the idea of trying to run the shop almost like a restaurant. And that might not make sense to some, but to me, what's that one show that came out not too long ago with that guy from fucking
what is it about? A restaurant?
It's about that restaurant where this guy fucking his brother died. Huh? Oh, The Bear.
The Bear. Oh, okay.
Okay, so there's a show called The Bear where, like, the kid literally gets a shit restaurant handed to him after his brother dies. And his brother left behind a bunch of fucking bills and a whole shit show. Yeah. But the brother fought through it all and literally made it from a shitty restaurant to an exceptional top tier restaurant. And just the amount of attention that it takes in a restaurant, whether it's in the front of the house or the back of the house. Say if the restaurant looks great, but your meal sucks, are you coming back?
No.
So
same thing if you flip it around. Same thing if it looks great, but it looks like crap, but the food is good. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to walk around.
Oh, you might come back,
but not 6 times.
I
might come back like that once every 6 months kind of thing.
So in a sense, it's just like the way that the restaurant, you know, in the back of the house, they have to clean every day. Front of the house, everything has to get wiped down. We try to treat it the same way. I mean, it's a little bit hard because they're cars and it gets a little bit dusty in here, but we really do try to, on a weekly basis, make sure that the shop always looks as presentable as possible, because anybody can walk in here. And I get guys that are millionaires that'll walk in here and you wouldn't really know it. Yeah. But the same person, like an Element, would come in here and they'd be like,
I'm telling you, brother. I mean, and it happened in the middle of the interview. Just the simple fact that the customer can walk in and talk to you.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
it's
and then
important.
not just that, just be welcomed the way that he got welcomed, where it's like, give me a second, I gotta take care of the customer real quick. I'll be
Yeah.
right back. And then even when I walked in, you know, when I walked in, like I came in here at freaking 9:45,
Yeah.
even before you guys opened. Your guys were still working on the car, like started already working on the car at 9:45. You guys don't open till 10:30.
Mhm.
You know, it's like that kind of level of attention. Yes, it tells me that you don't have guys that is like, okay, at 10:30 I'm coming in,
Yeah.
and at 5:30 I'm leaving. No, it's like
No,
they're actually taking care of their thing.
This kind of industries, that's where it does get tough. I mean, the days can be pretty long.
Yeah.
I mean, yesterday we were here till 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
But if you're
Sometimes
doing
it's-
something that you love,
makes it
time
easier.
flies.
Oh yeah.
You know, they're long because you're doing something that you love. All of a sudden, it's 9:30.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really easy to get, you know, really focused in here, especially when you don't have a lot of customers or clients or the phone ringing. Like you can just really get immersed in what you're doing. You know, when you love what you do, it makes it that much easier. And when you want to give it your best and you have all the means to do it, it really does make it easy. Like during the day is when I do a lot of the shop management. Maybe I get to wrench a little bit, but it's usually either early in the morning or when we're already closed or when it's weekends and there's nobody here that I actually get to really implement that big boy performance, you know, touch that I usually get to do. So that's just what it comes with running a business.
Yeah.
But my goal is just to make sure that you have a good experience when you come here, whether it's visually or represented by my team.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to make the whole, you know,
The whole picture work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a learning process. I'm still working on it. So I'm not
Keep
perfect.
on learning on it because there's always something new to learn. But like I said, the formula is not broken.
Yeah.
The formula is working.
Still working on the
Very
formula.
good. So keep on doing it. Tweak it here and there wherever you feel fit. But congratulations.
Thank you, man. It means the world to me. I appreciate it.
Congratulations on the shop, on your success, on the rapid success. Because I mean, not everybody can say that under 5 years they moved to a 5,500 square feet
Hey,
shop.
man. That's a
Triple
scary
the
thing
size.
sometimes. Some people would say that rapid growth can be killer, and that's why I got to make sure that's not the case. So
And
I
you-
have to make sure that we're always up to par.
You're doing what you got to do in order to be able to make it to the next level.
Yeah.
You made it to the next level, and you can only go up.
I'm only just beginning.
There you go. All right, brother. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, dude,
Thank you for
of course.
hosting me, and a pleasure as always.